Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu podcast, episode 110. My name is Isaac Tauaefa. I'm here with
Josh Straussberger.
Brent Casiglio.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning. How y'all doing?
Grab some of this coffee here.
Yeah, good going.
I don't know. Josh apparently didn't get the memo about the appropriate T-shirtage. You got the praying hands. I got the praying hands.
Josh.
Nobody let me know.
He went last year's Origin camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
I don't have a praying hands one anyway. I don't even own one.
I know a guy. I
I know a guy.
Maybe y'all can
I know a guy.
find it in your good graces to help a brother out.
I do know a guy. But also,
Easy.
Josh has some cool shirts on the way for us, which is cool.
Yeah.
We got some love at the event for the ones that you made just for the crew.
Yeah.
They were sweet.
I apologize to Aaron Archer. I didn't know he was going, so that's why he didn't get one. But I'm going to get one to you, Aaron, if you're listening.
Dude, they're great. They're going to be awesome.
Thank you. I knew the logo would look good, but then when I started getting them on the shirts, I was like, oh, this is pretty sick on the black shirt.
It looks really nice. Those shirts fit good. What's up, fellas?
Well, usual, man. Nice to be in town for a change.
I know. Oh, Brent's been gone for a couple weeks.
Yeah. I left my house on the 30th of March, and I just got home yesterday.
Yeah.
It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
You were the first one here at the studio.
Of course I was, man.
Of course he was.
And
If you're not 10 minutes early, you're late.
I agreed. So I was like double late. Josh and I both.
No.
Josh was on the road a lot longer than me though. I just was like, I was a total scrub. My daughter woke me up early in the morning. And I don't know, for those who are listening, like if you have kids that are still in pull-ups, it's like she's like not young enough that she can, pee in the pull-up and then be fine through the night, but not old enough to be like, not going to the bathroom all night. So anyway, she woke me up at like 3 something and to go get a new pull-up across the house. But she turned all the lights on the way. I'm like, no, don't stop doing that, don't. And then I got back to the room, and it took me a long time to fall back asleep. And then, it was just a rough morning this morning.
Oh.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm here with you guys, and it's not that
Glad
bad
you made
anymore.
it.
Actually, it was good until I saw Josh, and then
Yeah.
and then my stomach started turning.
Yeah.
You make me sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I brought something for you today. Just remember that.
This is for me.
It's right there.
Tell people what you got here for those who can't see.
Who can't see? It's just a little blade for just in case Isaac gets out of hand. That's
Just
all.
a little blade. Let's not diminish this. This is a very prolific, and well-made,
handmade,
and pricey tomahawk.
Yeah.
From Half Face Blades.
Yeah.
That he's already threatened me before the camera came on. He was gonna do lots of things.
Yeah,
to me with
terminalist
it.
style. If you've read the book, you know what that means.
You know what that means. Well,
where all were you at, Brent, in your travels, other than showing up at the Idaho event?
Yeah, I showed up at Idaho, but it was Nashville for about a week, then to California, and then to Seattle, back to California, and then Idaho and back.
Nice.
So I think I've like 7 different planes over the course of 2 weeks.
yeah, not fun.
Yeah.
Not fun for me anyway. But it was good.
Yeah,
a
it
good
got
way
to the
to end
point.
your trip.
Oh, it was a great way to end the trip. Especially when it was Friday. I was at the airport. Knew I was going to Nampa. I was just like, okay, now we can go try and choke some people.
Right. Much needed.
Yeah, it was awesome. We're gonna get all into the trip, and before that, I want to just give a shout out to our sponsor of today's podcast episode, Jocko Fuel. So thank you to Jocko Fuel as always for providing excellent products out to the world, to athletes, to busy moms and dads, and to Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu. And for our event, they were there, strong, amazing presence there in Idaho. Jocko Fuel came out, set up a table. And they were giving tons of stuff away to the community, the J&JJ community, which was awesome. Victor, Diaz, and Jackson were there. Great dudes and amazing representatives. And so it was really cool.
Yeah, and it was cool to see Victor too, because I think we talked about this. I had met him in other places. He came up and trained with us when I was up in Fieldcraft.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't
And
think
so that's where I knew him from, is I had trained with him because he's friends with Greg Lappin up there,
Yeah.
who's the instructor
Yeah.
when I was up there. And, I guess they're tight. They
Yeah.
go back a while. So Victor was up there training with us, and I knew him. And then we're sitting here in 208, and in he walks, and I was like,
Yeah.
I know you.
right? And then he's over there with the Jocko Fuel. I was like, "You're with Jocko Fuel?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, huh,
Yeah,
who
he's
knew?
our dude. He was
Who
in
knew?
Origin, and then he went over to Jocko
Yeah.
Fuel, and he's just been an amazing friend of the ministry. But it's cool. It was
Yeah.
great to see him, and
Such a small world.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
right.
crazy how many the circles just
I know.
overlap everywhere.
Yeah,
you
it
go.
was the same with Jackson. So he was in California. He came out. He's their West. I think he's their West Coast rep. But he came out to an FTX. We got to meet him and hang out.
Right
And
on.
so it ran him through as a role player, and then just a good dude, always reaching out. And then he texted me. I don't know, probably a month ago. It was before this was announced, but it was close to when the event was announced. And he was like, "Hey, do you know this grappling dude, Aaron?" And I was like, yeah. Like, I know him. He's like, "I'm training at his gym
Yeah,
now." And I
yeah.
was like, "What?"
yeah, system.
Yeah.
Yeah, system jiu-jitsu. There was a lot of guys there from there, which was
cool.
cool. They came out in force. Jackson was cool.
Yeah.
Super nice and intense guy.
Yeah.
And but it was awesome, man. Such a great turnout. And so thank you to Jocko Fuel for showing up. They showed out and just took care of everybody there. And
in a big way. It was awesome.
And I love, obviously, we love their product. We're grateful for their support of the ministry. And so if you want to support the ministry and get some excellent product, you can go to JJ. You can go to Jocko Fuel and you can use discount code JJJ10 for 10% off of your order. So go do that, and that gets you money off, gets you a discount, also gets the ministry commission. So thank you for doing that. Yeah. First order of business, Josh, is we want a recap of World League because you upheld your end of the deal.
Yes, finally.
That's right.
Finally paid my end of the deal.
Yeah. Maybe we should turn it to
Walk us through your matches.
yeah. So what's it?
Brent should walk you through because I don't remember any of it.
What's the challenge? The challenge is, are you in or out, right?
Yeah, so the challenge that I don't know if it's a JP thing, but it's something he's always done. And he just gives you are you in or out?
Yep.
And you don't have to be in. And if you don't know what it is until you agree to it. There are stipulations or parameters, but and if you're out, you're out. It's no it's no shame. You can be asked again if you're in or out. But if you say you're in, and you have to do it.
Yeah.
If you say you're in and don't fulfill your word, you won't get asked again.
Yeah.
Parameters are it has to be something that you can do. So one of the ones we did was to honor those half marathon.
Yeah.
And the way I like to spin it is if JP had been like, "Are you in or out?" I'm like, "I'm in." All right, we're doing a marathon.
Yeah, tomorrow.
I wouldn't have had time to train and prepare myself and all that. So that's why we ended up at the half marathon. We had the time to put into it. And then obviously JP has to do it as well.
Yeah.
So if I ask you, "Are you in or out?" I'm doing whatever I'm asking you to do together. So that's the parameter. So yeah, we had one for a jiu-jitsu tournament. The first tournament we signed up for, nobody was in me or JP's brackets. So
yeah. In fact, to jump back a little bit, I actually think I originated this whole one.
Yeah,
Except I don't think it was you're in or out, my to JP. I think it was like you're in.
That's right.
and that happens too.
And then he shared the love.
That's
on
right.
down
It
the
cascaded down to
to
the rest of us.
Yeah, that happens too. So, but yeah, so the last one, the one Lucas, where he fulfilled his, I just had to spectate because I didn't have anybody. And then I almost, not almost, but when I checked my registration, they had me in Masters 2. So I got on the little World League chat and I was like, "Hey guys, I'm Masters 3. There's something wrong here." And their online chat platform is actually really good.
Oh, really?
Like,
Okay.
if you've ever had any issues with them. But so they looked and I was like, "Yeah, I'm Masters 3. Okay, cool." They looked and they're like, "There's nobody in Masters 3." And I was like, "Well, I guess Masters 2 is fine." And there's no one in Masters 2. So I just asked them, I was like, where are the people? And they were like, your only option is to go down to adults. And I was like, adult ultra heavy. All right, cool. And
That's crazy.
Whoever I was chatting with came back and they were like, are you sure? I was like, I'm getting a match. All right. I don't care where it is. I'm getting a match.
That's wild, bro. I mean, so I will roll with anyone, but like competing with a dude that's, 23 and the same size as you. Because I can just think about me at 23 and I'm like, I don't want to roll with 23-year-old me. I don't.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to break some, even if like, my jiu-jitsu's good and there's just some spazzy something that could happen. I was like, oh man, I'm freaking tear my ACL or something. I don't know.
Well, my wife was like, well, you got like the dad strength, the old man strength, and I was like, yeah, unless I get a D1 athlete in there.
Yeah.
And my first match was a D1 offensive line from Wyoming. So and that's the other thing about ultra heavy. Like I weighed in with my gi like 227, so I'm at the very low end of that weight class. So, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I was on the road the whole week before, and I knew my weight was close, but I didn't want to risk trying to cut the weight and then not making weight. So I was like,
good.
I'm gonna stay right
Although
here.
you want to go.
I got to interject on the D1 O-line excuse thing.
That wasn't an excuse.
Because when you actually started doing the right things,
Yes.
he did not have anything for you.
Yeah. And that was, I agree.
You just needed to do more of the right things.
And and it wasn't an excuse, but I can just, when they grab you, like when Isaac grabs you, like you can feel like,
Oh, yeah?
oh, this is a different animal. I mean, maybe not you, but when he grabs me, I'm like, and this is kind of a compliment to him. I hate doing this.
I know how much he hates it.
But no, like, but to Brent's point, he's right. So I spent the first 3 minutes of my first match standing, and it was exhausting.
I saw the match. Who filmed? Did you film it?
No,
JP filmed it.
That video that I have is okay.
JP filmed it.
Man,
Brent was coaching, and he was. And I could hear him. It was so good. Most of the time I could hear him. And he's right. Like, some of the stuff, like, I'm trying to keep my breath, I'm trying not to gas out 3 minutes of standing with this big guy. And Brent's like, left bicep, right tricep, do all this stuff. And it absolutely, he's right. Like, as soon as I started getting the right grips and doing the right things, it slowed him down.
Why is it so tiring to stand? I mean, we all been training for a long time.
Yeah, honestly, I have no idea. But it really, really, really is.
Is it trying to like keep your core tight while you're breathing hard? I mean, I don't know what, because like you have to control your posture. You don't want to get like bent over too much and lose.
It might. I said it might be. Because of you do have to have your total ball engaged.
Yes.
If you're on the bottom, there are parts that maybe you don't need to engage, right?
Yeah.
You're working a lot, but maybe not everything. When you're on your feet, literally from your toes
That's
up,
true.
Everything's engaged.
Yeah.
So especially if you're doing it like the two gorillas just leaning on each other scenario, like that'll burn you fast, right? Which is typically when you see like the large, like ultra heavies, a lot of times you see they both double lapel and butt goes out, head goes down, and they just sit there and
double collar grip, resting
and I'm
your
just
forehead
like,
on their forehead.
it's like, man, that's going to last about 45 seconds before they're gassed.
I try to avoid getting locked up in that as much as possible.
No, but it is even then, even when you're moving around a lot, like even in our gym when I Michael likes to stand up.
Yeah.
The other, Michael.
Michael, he's awesome. I gotta have him on here.
So he and I do a lot of stand up battles, and man,
exhausting.
We'll go at it for like the whole 5 minutes because he's getting good on his feet. He was not ever bad, but I mean like he's making it a lot harder now than it used to be. But it's exhausting on the feet for whatever reason. That's why like in the tournaments, you got to be careful with that. If you got to be, if you just get in there and burn, that's why a lot of times I tell people, and obviously you can't just engage, right? You have basically what I call like just the useless grips. You just get something, you're holding it for no reason, right? And I'm just like, don't ever do that because you will just like, you're going to burn all your energy into nothing.
Yeah.
If you don't have it, let go, be fluid, move, right?
True.
And then you use less energy. You move more, but ironically, you use less energy.
I think I felt that. I mean, I was tired after 3 minutes of that, but like you telling me where to put my grips and I could hear it, like they were intentional grips, I feel like it helped me last longer.
Yeah, you were like in the video, you were as from what I could tell. I mean, I didn't know how you felt, but like as tenacious or like good posture and grip strength from the beginning until I think. Was that the match when? Wait, did you pull?
No, the second.
He tried to take down.
So he tried a few takedowns.
Yeah, he tried a couple.
6 or 7.
Yeah. And you almost got his back.
I almost got him down and got his back once, but he came back up. But then
that's right.
At one point, I kept doing what Brent was saying.
Yeah.
And you hear Brent in the video yell, "The next time he does that, you're going to put both hands around his waist and pick him up." And he pulled guard. he pulled guard immediately.
Josh was like, pick him up. He weighs 2,
no, that's what I'm telling you. Grab and hip in. Hip in, pick him up.
Well, and when you said it, I was like, oh, I can do that. And seeing what he was doing with his grips, I was like, I could actually do this. Yeah. But I didn't get a chance to.
Well, and I think the fact that when you, even if it's fake, like even if you're just fake it till you make it, but there's some psychological stuff that happens when you stand with somebody and they feel like they're not getting tired of their grips and stuff, and they're just still standing square with you. You're like, oh man, he doesn't seem to be as tired, and like I want to save some of my energy. I'm gonna pull, So like I think that's probably what this guy was, because he was big, and he's strong and he's fast. He's like, well, his one thing is like, well, I don't want to get tired.
Yeah, so, and that happens for sure. But the other side of that coin is when, from my experience, when they feel like their stuff's ineffective and mine is effective, they feel like they're starting to get defensive on grips and whatever, then people are like you said, like when I said that and then all of a sudden he pulls, he probably realized, oh, Josh has gotten to that point a couple of times now and I can't stop it. When he does those grips, it takes away everything I have. Yeah. So do what I call panic pull, right? Yeah. You see it all the time, is you start get dominant grips on people and then they don't like it at all. Yeah. And then they just want to be out of the stand-up.
And I feel obviously he's not sitting here, so I don't know what was going through his mind. Yeah, but I feel like as you were coaching and I was getting – so I was more defensive trying to stop takedowns at the beginning. And then as my grips got better and started listening to you and doing things, I think I think that is what happened because – his takedown attempts went to less, and he was having to address my grips more because you were telling me right where to put my hands, and then he would do something, and you'd be like, circle this, and I think from my perspective that did slow it down because he was like, I don't.
Yeah, and sometimes honestly, when you've got a bigger guy like that, that really kind of is the strategy, right? If you can, it's going to be hard to one-on-one against the guy, but if you can basically intimidate him through your grips and your actions and the dominance in that aspect, make him realize on his feet isn't good for him either, then he's going to try and switch to something else.
Yeah.
So that happens quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, that was great. So that was with him. First match.
So
second match
when he pulled guard, I ended up getting submitted by a head and arm choke. So, and then second match, I did not do as well standing. I think for a minute there, and maybe still, but Brent was like, I don't know what to coach. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, he literally got to a point where I had nothing to say. Like I just like look around and I'm like, I don't even know what to say. Like,
so
what the hell is he doing?
When we compared notes after, I was like, I was trying to do something but it felt really weird. And he's like, I don't know what you're trying to do. So there was a complete disconnect, and I totally messed it up. But as we talked it out, I was like, well, I was trying to do this and this. And then Brent goes, oh, that makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
You had the wrong sleeve and you turned the wrong way. And I was like, oh, that would explain why it felt weird. But it wasn't, again, not an excuse, but it wasn't me just losing it. I was legitimately in my brain like, I'm going to try this. Executed it totally wrong. And Brent was like,
and for those who didn't watch Josh's video, in essence, he took the guy's far arm, turned his back to him, wrapping the guy's arm around his basically his neck, and then stepped his leg. So he grabs the guy's arm, pulls it around him, puts his back to his chest, and then steps his foot back between his legs, almost like he wanted to cuddle with the guy.
Well, this is from standing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think what he was trying to do was go to Russian.
Yes.
But instead of using the outside arm,
Yeah.
he used the opposite arm.
yeah.
So when he turned around, he basically just wrapped himself in the guy's loving embrace.
As I stepped to turn, I was like, "This isn't right."
Well,
but it was done at that point.
My brain doesn't.
I had the same thought.
My brain doesn't work very good in competition. It's like you're firing at like 25% of brain capacity.
I feel like I was firing much better in the first match, and then when I got there on that one, I was like, "No, this isn't right." But it helped me being able to talk it out with him, and then Brent was like, "Oh, that makes more sense. That was totally wrong, but it makes sense. You should have done this." And I'm like, "Oh," so it was a light bulb.
Well, I like that you, and I told you this when we talked about it a few weeks ago, but I was like, man, you are to go down. So both of those guys were younger than you. One was a little younger, one was a lot younger, and both of them were a lot heavier too.
Yeah, they were big boys.
A lot heavier than you, and you still were just like, let's go, because you were fulfilling your obligation, which you said you would do, and I think that's freaking awesome, man. And that's why I was like, bro, that's why I always say, like, yep, you're one of the most about it dudes that I know, because you'll just do it. You full send, like, cool, whatever it takes to do what I said I'm gonna do. I like that. So I need that out of more people.
No, and I don't like to lose, obviously, and I didn't go in there to lose, and I didn't go in there with excuses like, "Oh, I've been on the road a week." Like a lot of people were asking me like how I felt, was I nervous, and I really wasn't. I went in there knowing my coaches would be there for me and to do the things that I knew to do, and like I was very open-minded about it. Like I was trying to win. There was no excuse, and that doesn't make the loss any better, but because I don't like to lose. But also at the end of the day, it's a Jiu-Jitsu World League tournament, and I was happy to compete, and for Brent to be there to coach and to see some things that I can work on, and
and that's the big thing, right? It's nobody likes to lose. Let's face it, but if you came away, like even through this conversation, right? We came away with a couple of key things where clearly it's locked in your mind now. Go fix them.
Yeah.
You know?
And ego side, I was happy with parts, especially the first match.
Good. Should be.
So it helps solidify some things. Like, okay, not bad here. You know, not great, but not bad. There's definitely room for improvement. And then these were really bad things. And
well, I'd say those things that you did well, absolutely, you should be bolstered in like, I'm going to keep doing those things. And they worked. They were effective because that's the right thing to do. That's like what I should be executing.
I just need Brent there every match to tell me where to put my hands.
Eventually, you'll just get the Miyagi voice. In your head, and then you won't have to hear it audibly.
There.
It'll
Left
just
bicep.
be there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to, Josh? No, don't worry about it. Me and Brent are having a conversation. No, it was it was fun too. I hadn't competed in a long time, and just getting to get out there and do that. It is a different level of intensity.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that, but I mean we have very intense roles at Formigas.
It's different,
but it is different in that setting, and it was good to feel that again.
Yep.
I was happy to see it, right? I mean, because honestly, it was funny that I think I was traveling that week. And in fact, that was the one day I was home. It was the one day I was home, and my plan was to do nothing. And then I get up that morning, I start seeing stuff about World League. I talk to Aiden, and he's like, I compete at this time. And he's like, oh, and Josh is at this time. I was like, okay, I guess I'm going. But that said, going down there, it was awesome to be down there. I was thrilled to see, you get out there. And, when Aiden told me Josh is competing today too, I was like, oh, I'll get some.
Yeah.
All right, we're going.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt good.
I love it, man. Yeah, I'm proud of you for doing it. It was cool. I didn't get to be there in person, but I got to watch those videos, and that was awesome. And I was actually hanging out with some jiu-jitsu friends, and that was one of the reasons we couldn't be there. Was this? We got Kim and I got invited to this like special. So one of our black belt friends, his name is Curtis Osman. He's the president of Three Forks Steakhouse, and travels all over. But he comes up and up here. He listens to the podcast, He's a great friend, and he drives up from Austin and will be here for like a few weeks at a time. And so he's training at Formigas in the morning. And so I've just gotten to know him well. And Kramer, because we train at the morning class. And so he had invited us and our wives to it was like a pre-grand opening thing where they like test out service, and it's practice runs.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to get to be a part of that, but it was like look around, and it was all like friends of Curtis and, people, I was not an important person in that room at all, which was cool. It was just cool. But Kramer and I and our wives, and it was just nice to be there and get to experience that. And that's not, Kim and I, when we go to date night, it's, we're grabbing, like, we love Costco food court. We'll go do that and go to a park or something, and we do go to some, as fancy as it gets on a regular basis is like Marty B's, or something like that. And, which is a good spot, but we're never pulling out like
change that up a little bit, man.
No, I know.
Break out a sport coat and take her to a nice place, man.
For
Come
sure.
on.
Well, we do that. I'm just saying, my wife is like that actually would be like she would be like what are you doing? Like she wouldn't like that. Like so we do it because it's more sentimental. We when we were really broke living in Hawaii, the Costco food court was like one of the few things we could afford to do.
Okay.
And so we used to go grab that and go to the beach and talk and hang out. And so that's a fun thing to do.
I get it.
Yeah, sorry. I should have explained that beforehand. But yeah, so what I'm saying is though, we will go to places, but we're not breaking the bank to go to a super fancy restaurant like that. Right. And so it was cool to have that experience with her, because most of the time it's just like busy parents and we're budgeting for things and we're trying to pay off, things that we owe and whatever. And so it's like, hey, do you want to go spend an exorbitant amount of money on dinner as a date night? Or do you want to go to a cheaper date night place and pay some bills? I'm like, let's do that. That sounds nice.
Yeah.
And she used to be an accountant, so she's like very.
Yeah. Oh yeah. As long as y'all on the same page. I mean,
bro, of course.
Where you go, honestly, is irrelevant.
Yeah.
The important thing is that you go and you spend that time together.
I agree. Yeah, and so
except when you prioritize that over me and Brent.
Yeah.
It wasn't over me. It was
my
over
wife.
you.
Yeah. But you were there adjacent.
I was there.
So sorry. Your marriage advice is to prioritize you over a date with my wife.
Yes.
Okay.
Just so
we're super clear. Yeah.
Just so everyone understands exactly what you're asking.
I'll smooth it over with Kim. Don't worry. She likes me.
She does. She does. Like
I don't know why.
But she might not after a while.
I don't know why.
I think she feels sorry for you.
That's what it is. Hey, I take what I can get. She's always very nice to me.
I know she does like you, mostly because you're a person that does what you say you're going to do. So I think it's awesome to have a friend like you. But we ended up. It was just a really cool event, and
awesome.
And it was like a one-time thing. Curtis was like, "This is on this night. You can make a reservation between these times," and so it was a cool experience to be at, and got to be with a couple of my jiu-jitsu guys, which was nice. But it was nice checking in, and I had my phone with me, and I was watching some of the videos as you were sending them. But man, I'm proud of you for doing that. It was awesome.
It felt good.
Yeah.
It was humbling, but it overall it was a good experience. And those two guys I went against, they were so there was a little showboating at one point apparently, but honestly, like both guys were very nice, very humble.
Yep.
They both train hard, train a lot. So it was cool to just get a chance to go against them. Like,
some good competition.
Yeah.
Well, man, I want us to have time to talk about. We can recap. Josh doesn't know because he wasn't able to make it, but I want to give him an update on the Idaho event that we just recently did. So, event 20, in Nampa, Idaho. We brought Formiga up with us to teach a seminar at 208 Jiu-Jitsu in Nampa, and man, it was an incredible event. I came in on Thursday to spend a little time with Danny Ziem and his family, and he had the Jocko fuel for the event delivered on a pallet to his house. Yeah. And so we had loaded that up, and then we brought it over the next morning. But man, it was such an incredible event. Brent, I'll let you share your perspective too. But the highlights for me were just the hospitality of the people. And about how the same things I love about the community in Texas, like where we live, that closeness and a lot of people who really are walking with the Lord, like not just cultural Christians, like people who really have a deep relationship with God that are also good at jiu-jitsu. That's what that area feels like, And I met some great people who listen to the podcast regularly, and I interact with them on social media sometimes, like Chris and Dylan and Aaron Kayab, and Sean Hess, of course, and but man, just like this whole group of people that came out to support and brought a bunch of friends, and man, it was really cool to spend time with them.
Yeah, it was surprisingly, nothing against anybody, but it was just the culture, like really, it caught me off guard a little bit, right? Because I didn't anticipate, like I said, that level of closeness they had to each other. Everyone was very eager. Everyone was very open. Right. It was just such a great community. Like even when we sat there, I was kind of talking to someone and there was, I don't know, maybe 20 people in the room, right? And I turned around and I was talking to someone. I looked back over my shoulder and there's 150 people there. Yeah. And not just that, but not just people standing around, but like first a couple of guys started drilling, right? Yeah, Next thing you know, it's like open mat. Like people are full out like rolling before we started
the event.
Really? Right? Yeah. Everyone knows each other. It was very, very close. It was
a lot of people showed up like
very welcoming.
45 minutes early. Oh. And they were just rolling before we even started warm-ups or announcements or anything. And one of the owners, Sam and Mel, the husband and wife, amazing people, super hospitable. Yeah, but they
seemed very nice.
Yeah, they were like, no, this happens all the time. People show up early to stuff and they roll. So like, it was funny.
Yeah, and then I said everyone was they were incredibly welcoming. Yeah. Very nice. It was a great community and culture up there. It really was.
I love their setup. So they had it's kind of like Kronz's gym.
Yeah, it's what it looked like from the pictures. Yeah. That's what I was.
Yep, huge like industrial kind of warehouse with 2 roll-up doors, but what was cool was they had their mats centered in the middle of the building. So there was tons of room around.
All around.
Yeah, and they were able to add, so they got some wrestling mats from a local high school, and they set up a whole bunch of extra space for us, which was perfect because we needed it.
Yeah, we did.
We had 100. I think we had like 160 people on the mat.
Oh, wow.
And then we had another 40 or so people around the mat.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So we had 200 people in the building, which was amazing. And maybe a couple more people outside.
Yeah. No, and they said even with the added mats, the mats were full. So when Formiga was doing his technique and everyone was drilling it, as I'm wandering around the room helping people, I'm literally having to like step over and around because there's just so many people.
Filled up, awesome. Dude.
I liked seeing Aaron get to be, it was Aaron, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To be the dummy. Because that was me when we went to Trident.
That's right.
And everybody was like, Formiga would be like, you need to see it again? And they'd be like, one more time. And so he'd throw me through the air. And then, anybody need to see it? One more time. I was like, I know what y'all are doing.
I know what you're doing. And that one kid that was like, again. And before me did it one more time. And then the kid was like, again. Yeah. And they're like, are you sure? Yeah. You looked at him like, bro, come on. Bro. But man, so he showed some amazing technique. People were just, and it was cool because I know the jiu-jitsu, so the quality of jiu-jitsu up in that area I'm just not that I'm surprised, like in a way that was like, wow, I'm surprised you guys are actually good. I don't mean it from that attitude. I mean like, they don't have as much access as we do to like they're not in drivable distance of people who are like super well known jiu-jitsu guys, and for the overall quality of jiu-jitsu to be that high there means that they train really hard, they compete a lot, they go to seminars outside and bring that knowledge back and really take it seriously.
Well, I think that's part of the piece too, is in talking to those guys, they are a very competitive gym.
Yes.
They compete a lot, and those gyms typically tend to, right? Because you're having to go and put it out on the line. So they train harder, they want to learn more because they're going to go step into the competition mat.
Yeah.
And it's a different world out there. So
it was it was such a cool event from a turnout standpoint. I mean, 200 people to show up to that event, and we're not there to like locally promote. And so I have to give again a special shout out to Aaron Kayabyab. He was instrumental in bringing us out there. He was my point of contact there.
Yeah.
And really, we had done one other out of state event. We were at that one together at the Colorado Springs one. And that was a different situation because it was with a Pursuit brother and that JP already had a relationship with. And so this was different because even though we do have friends in the area, I needed a lot of help coordinating boots on the ground there.
Yeah. And we didn't, I mean, we hadn't, other than Danny and Sean Hess, we hadn't even met any of them. I mean, I had lunch with Aaron when I was passing through, but like that
I didn't have a relationship with a lot of those other people that were there.
Yeah.
I mean, just a little bit on social media. Aaron more so.
Which is important and it's impactful, but I think that's just a further testament to like what a great job they did, and how awesome it was.
And I just want to add another little thank you to Aaron, because he actually came and picked me up from the airport. I didn't, because I was coming straight from work on the West Coast, so I didn't get in till almost 10 o'clock at night.
And he has some young kids, and we were tied up. We were over with Sam and Mel in a different part of Idaho, and he went and picked them.
Yeah, so he picked me up from the airport, took me to the Airbnb, and I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm not surprised.
He's another guy that's about it. I mean, he says he's going to do something, he gets it done. And that, I mean, really, that's what it takes. So what Aaron helped me do was he really helped sharpen our SOPs for out-of-state events. So, and also kind of help blaze a trail for like future people. So we get people reach out all the time and say, hey, when are you guys going to come to this state? Hey, can you guys come to my gym? We live in Florida. We live in, New York, whatever. And so this helped me realize really what we need, kind of boots on the ground, point of contact person there that's helping lay the foundation. So what he did that was awesome was he talked to some local businesses and said, hey, there's this group we want to bring out. Would you be interested in helping sponsor this event? And connecting me in emails to them, and then also to churches. So there was 5 local churches, I think.
Oh, that was awesome.
That came. Awesome. They set up tables. They brought Bibles. They were there to pray with people. They were there to welcome. And I said it multiple times. So, hey, Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu being here for this event is cool, but really what you need is to be plugged into a church body and community and be in fellowship with other people who believe, so you can strengthen your faith and be encouraged. And so I was like, come see these people at these tables and get plugged in. They're here just on their own time with their arms open, saying, hey, come join our family, come plug in here at our church. So
because the reality is that's the purpose behind the events, right? It's not bring the famous Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu guys out here and the guys I see on the internet, whatever, come here. That's not the purpose of having those guys come.
Because we'll be gone.
The purpose is to bring people closer to the Lord. So to have those churches come and sit around unselfishly, just spend the afternoon there, just simply to be available.
They were people. Such good people. We gave away some Bibles. Well, and to your point, I mean, even beyond just like it being the event that came to town, it's like there's an evangelism piece of it, which is like, let's share the gospel with you and expose you to, let's tell you about Jesus. Some people just never heard it. Some people are not that familiar. Some people need to be retold. But that's really cool. That evangelism piece is sharing the gospel, going to a new place, sharing the gospel. The piece that really is the ongoing piece that's going to help you in your faith is discipleship, which is being plugged into a community, being poured into continually. So we do that. We have ways that we do discipleship to the community, but you have to be plugged into a church. So it was a really cool, amazing showing there. There was a group called Brave, and a guy named Mike, who I met, and just awesome dude, came, set up a table. He donated to the ministry to help bring us out to. Just such a good dude. I got connected with a lot of great people who are doing good work. There was a guy named Ryan who started I think it's called Grappling and God, or Grappling with God. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a church program.
Oh, sweet.
And I think they're somehow tied in with like FCA maybe.
Oh, cool.
But man, they had reached out, I guess. I don't know if it was me that replied. Somebody replied on the page to them about, because they wanted to use the name Jesus in Jiu-Jitsu, which we don't like. We're not greedy with it. However, we also have to be wise about protecting the organization, because there are people who say, I want to use Jesus in Jiu-Jitsu for my Bible study, but then they might be teaching some wacky theology or something. So it's just good stewardship to say, hey, let's make sure we're all on the same page. And we don't have a way to do that just yet, but we're working on it. Lucas has been helping me with, and Sterling Archer with like an actual curriculum. But until then, we're just kind of, hey, hang tight, you know. But they were like, they started their own program, and it was like, we support you. Like, you're doing what we're doing, and we're not the only show in town because we're on the same team. So,
and we shouldn't be the only show.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
we're not trying to be.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, exactly. We're not trying to be a monopoly on faith and grappling.
Yeah.
Like, you, in fact, start your own thing where you are, and we'll support you. We would love to be friends with you, and that's what Ben Brandon has done up in Washington.
Which he showed up too.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was awesome.
He's moving down to Reno soon, but he started a church jiu-jitsu program, and he and his wife and baby came out, spent time with us. Kirk Weatherby came in from Oregon, and man, there was a guy that drove from Wyoming.
There was someone that drove 12 hours.
12
to get
hours,
there.
yeah.
Sure.
Man, it was just amazing. And so, but the coolest part to me was, I don't know why it's never occurred to me, and I think maybe Kramer had brought it up to me at one point, but I was like, we should do baptisms at events. Like, yeah. So I asked Aaron C. I'm going to call him, because Aaron Archer came with us too. Right. I'm like, hey, Aaron C. Could you get a hold of a trough for us, like that we could fill up with water and do baptism? He's like, bro, no problem. So I think he talked to Sam and Mel. They ended up having one. Man, so we put that out there. Hey, if you said that, if you made a choice today to follow Jesus, you made the decision to put your hope and trust in him for the rest of your life, we would love to baptize you today. We have that. Or if you're far from the Lord and you're coming back to him, or you were baptized as a baby and you didn't understand what it meant and you want to make that public profession today, don't leave today without being baptized. And 4 people signed up to be baptized, awesome. Dude. And that was like the highlight of the trip for me, because that is such a meaningful thing. And for them to want to, because there's a lot of people who are like, I want this to be like a really momentous, you know, they want it to be like the most memorable experience, right? And so they wait and they do it, you know, with a ton of family there and everything. These people are like, dude, let's go. I want to go. So they signed up.
Let's get this done.
Yeah. And it was so amazing. And so it was cool to get to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So the verse I wanted to share today actually comes from, so Danny Ziem shared his testimony. Yep. And man, it was awesome. And you know, Danny's a really close friend of mine. He's friends with you guys, and just an awesome dude. And to hear him share a story, even though I've been his friend for a while now and I've heard him share before, you know, got to know him even more as he shared deeper this time and more and different parts. I feel like maybe the Holy Spirit was leading him to share with the people that were there. And it resonated with a lot of people. I heard that directly from some people that came up and said, man, that testimony, that's kind of what I'm going through right now. You know, I was like, wow, you need to go tell that to Danny. Because sometimes, you know, and we talked about this, like, you don't know, like, you just like, I don't know if what I said was helpful at all. And it's like, that's a good place to be. So they're like, yeah, man, I was good.
Yeah, you know honestly, I'm there a lot, but as you guys know, because I say this all the time, you just have to say it, because the reality is, if you're being led to say it and put that, whether you think you're impacting or not, you probably are.
You're right.
Yeah. So just do it, man.
Well, and the Holy Spirit uses you so much, I think, more effectively when you're like, I don't have the perfect words. I don't have every single thing mapped out, and I'm going to say this bombshell thing that everyone's going to think is awesome. When you just go in here, you're like, Lord, I've done the prep work by studying scripture and just trusting you, but I need you. I need your words. And that, and I was telling that to Danny beforehand. And I actually think it was a good sign, because he speaks professionally. He's a professional speaker.
Yeah.
And right before, he's like, man, I don't know why I'm kind of getting a little like antsy, kind of feeling a little nervous. I said, that's probably actually good. It's like, well, just lean into the Lord. I don't have to have the perfect words mapped out, you know, but it went really well. But so the thing that I thought was awesome that I took away from his testimony that I wanted to share with everyone is he read James 1:2. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. For you know the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. Let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. So the part of it that he zoomed in on, which was cool, was the word when. He was like, he said, when you face trials. He said, this is because we are not promised that we'll never face hardship. Because he was talking about how he had given his life to Christ at a point in his life, and things seemingly got worse. Everything just got worse. There was more death of friends and people in his life and family members, and there was more chaos and more heartbreak. But he said the thing that is different when you have Christ is that now all of that suffering you contextualize in the fact that you have hope in Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah, you have hope in Jesus. So now you're not alone.
Right.
You will face the same trials and struggles, and that's why he zoomed in on the word when. Yep. It's like it's a guarantee you're going to face this. Yeah. But now you do not have to do this alone.
It's not a maybe.
Yeah, it's when. And so it was encouraging in multiple ways. One was that he was just reminding all the people there, like, don't think that if you give your life to Christ that everything's going to be peachy.
Right.
Yeah, and I agree that's a great thing, because how often do you hear that, right? When people say things like, well, if there's a God, or if God is good, how can these things happen?
Right.
And nowhere in the Bible does it say, come follow me and your world is going to be peaches and rainbows.
Yeah,
that's not.
It's not
biblical. The world has challenges.
Yeah.
The world has evil in it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things are going to happen. You just have to keep your eyes on the prize.
Yeah.
Yep. We're told continually in Scripture that we will face trials.
Yeah.
We will face struggle and tribulation, and we'll be persecuted.
And to that end, if you kind of reflect on Danny's story a little bit, once he made that commitment and came out, of course you're going to get attacked.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? Because the enemy's the other.
You're on the radar now.
He's at the table too, right? He's on the other side of the chessboard, and he sees you make that move, and then he's like, "Oh, I need to start attacking because I can't let that happen."
Yep. Yeah, man. That's a great, and that was the piece that I think was really encouraging, because there was a lot of people there. It was a mixed bag of backgrounds.
Yes.
I knew people personally that some of them are walking with the Lord and they're strong in their faith. There were some people who believed a long time ago and just kind of fell away. And then there were people who were not. So Danny's professor was there from Gracie Baja. And he's not like, he doesn't profess to believe. Like he's not a believer. I think he's more kind of agnostic. And I had the honor of meeting him. Like, I think the first night that I came in, Danny took me up to his jiu-jitsu gym, and they were finishing up class. And so we sat with his professor for about an hour and a half and just talked. I got to know him more, and
that's awesome.
He had invited him, and he invited him to the event. Like, he had been inviting him. And he was like, yeah, I think, he was like, yeah, I'd like to go. I think he was saying his wife maybe was on the fence. And then they had a scheduling thing come up.
Yeah.
She wasn't able to make it, but he made the time to come, and he wasn't just there for a little bit and took off when the sermon came around, or when the testimony came around. He stayed the entire time, and it was cool to watch that, and to watch God just drawing his heart, you know. But there were people from all kinds of backgrounds. Actually, one of the guys that we baptized grew up Mormon and had some horrible things recently happen in his life. And I'm not to share all his business, but they lost a child, and that stress caused, him and his wife major issues. And he was just really struggling, and so he was one of the guys that we ended up baptizing. He was just saying, 3 weeks ago, this is just mind-blowing. 3 weeks ago, this is the story that I remember. So if you're listening, and I won't say his name just to protect him, but if you're listening and I got it wrong, send me a message. But what I remember him telling me was that he had was struggling through this season. He's been going to a Christian church and leaning into God. He, I think, was getting back into jiu-jitsu after a long time off, and was kind of looking for something that would be encouraging, and it was kind of grappling related and Jesus. I found the podcast, started listening to the podcast just from episode 100 on, I think. And then heard about the event, and he ended up living in very close to the area. And he's like, "What the heck? You guys are coming over here?" He's like, "That's wild."
What a coincidence, right?
Yeah. So he didn't, from what I remember, and this was the cool part, he didn't hear about us from someone in his gym that was like, "Hey, a bunch of us are going over to this event," or see a flyer or something, and just randomly heard the podcast and was like, "Whoa, you guys are gonna be in my backyard like in a couple weeks." And came out, and then while he was there, just connected with a lot of people, and then felt like I need to get baptized. Which, bro, 3 weeks ago you didn't even know who any of us were, and then now you're here with us, and we get to spend time with you.
That's awesome.
Just so amazing, man. It's such a blessing what we get to do with this ministry.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That was good. And the other thing too, I thought was interesting because I had no idea what Danny was going to say.
Yeah.
I hadn't talked to him about it at all, which I typically don't, because I don't want to try and influence
Right,
him,
right.
or whatever. So I just kind of let it be. But it just made me smile when he said when he was like James 1:2, and I was just like, how often does this come up?
Right,
it's amazing. Like this is.
It's crazy because
ever present.
He at dinner on Thursday, he was talking. We were just like going over maybe what he was planning on sharing.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying, I think this time I really would like to share this part of this. And it was funny. He said something. I was like, man, he had his phone. He's pulling his phone out, and I'm talking to him. And he's like, I was like, I was thinking, man, that just reminds me of James so much. And he's like, and he shows me his phone, and it's James 1:2. He's like, I'm literally about to read this to you to say this is what I'm sharing. I'm like, oh, that's so good. Let's go. That's so awesome, man.
And that's confirmation.
Yeah, confirmation. It just was great and really encouraging to everybody, man. But the event overall was so cool, and we kind of made a collective decision, like that's got to be a place that we go once a year. They are the hospitality.
Oh, it was amazing.
They're hungry for that. They're hungry for that kind of community.
Yes.
And we just want to be present enough there that we can help them get a really strong community stood up for that whole Treasure Valley area. And again, taught me a lot about how we need to do this moving forward in other states or cities if they want to do events. I learned a lot through helping schedule this one.
Yeah, on the things that the ministry would need to do, to have done, purpose.
Yep.
I mean, I agree. It was from the ministry's perspective, aside from the actual focus and mission, it was a very good learning environment to see, like, these are the things that, because some of that we hadn't even thought about. Right. It just,
exactly.
Aaron C. set up a lot of that stuff. But then on the backside, you're looking at it and going, like that's actually what we need there. If we're going to come like that, like
that's
the churches,
missing piece.
Yeah, like with having the churches there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it never even crossed my mind to even recommend we should do something like that.
Well, we've recommended churches before, but we never thought to have them come set a table up.
Yeah.
I mean, mostly we're concerned about space.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Well, I mean, and it's been from the perspective of when you get there, you refer people, say, hey, you need community, right? Reach out to your local churches, but never for them to be present and sitting there, right? And available to people to just, if they feel, driven to turn around and walk, and there's a guy sitting right there from the church down the street from your house.
Yeah.
You could go
window shopping.
Yeah, exactly.
There's five of them to talk to right here.
Yeah, man.
And honestly, that's important too, because even like, how often do you see people who aren't close to the Lord, whether you call them agnostic or whatever else? From my experience, the vast majority have church hurt.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
It's you always hear that, it's a church thing. And then when you start talking to them, it's because there was something in an organized, in an organization they label as a church, how they handled something caused a problem. Now people draw away from the Lord. Right. So it's
very common.
To have someone there, you can go talk to them and hear what they have to say, and maybe that aligns with you. Right? Like, this is not what these other guys were telling me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I was, overall just blown away by the whole event.
Yeah,
and
it was
cool.
great.
Great spending time with Formiga.
Yeah, and it was, it's always fun hanging out with Formiga. Then great rolls.
Oh, yeah.
There's 17 4-minute rounds.
Yeah.
Aaron knocked out every single one of them.
People did not leave Aaron.
Aaron had a target.
Yeah, they kept coming up to him.
Everybody
they
wanted
him.
Aaron.
Brent did like 14.
Yeah, I did 14. Formiga did 11.
Yeah.
I know you had a lineup.
But people were lined up.
Yeah.
But also I was getting like, hey, can I talk to you about some ministry
awesome.
stuff?
Yeah,
cool.
No, that's great.
So,
So
that was nice. Thanks for the breather.
Take a breather.
Yeah, it was so getting all those rounds. First off, it was awesome because I've been on the road for 2 weeks, so I hadn't trained, right?
Yeah.
So it was nice to be able to, the other side of that coin too is, as we've talked about before, all the other events, I'm kind of the overlook. Like, no one wants to roll with me.
Yeah, they usually
concerned. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing.
About it. They usually avoid you.
But people don't want to roll with me. But
they seek this guy out.
Yeah, everybody does. But this one, just personally, it took like 6 rounds before I can even get a drink.
Because they just would tapping in. Right?
The bell would ring and I'd be on my knees tying my belt, and then someone would be standing right there, be like, you want to go? And I'd be like, all right, let me tie my belt and go. Right.
Oh yeah.
But so the other thing I was kind of loud. I don't think I shared this with you, but it was funny. Nobody wanted to roll with me because of Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu. I think I was just the black belt that nobody knew, right? Because people kept asking me, like, "Oh, well, are you around here?
Yeah.
You know, where do you train?" I'd be like, "No, I'm with
Texas,
I'm with them.
I'm with these guys."
I came from Texas.
They're like, "Oh, really?" They're like, "Oh, you?" I'm like, "Yes,
Dude, that was awesome. I think it's funny because
Should have hit him with the "Don't you know who I am?"
Yeah. Don't
That's
you
right.
know?
You don't need to know who I am.
He's like never. What's funny is like, again, we're never like we're just doing a podcast and people are connecting because there's community and fellowship between us. We're not elevated at all. No. But when people are just you're familiar, it's funny because then people will be like, I know they want to roll with me because they're like, well, I listen to the pod, I hear your voice, I want to roll with you, you know, and I actually got that. So Jared and Mark, two guys that are friends of the ministry, listen to the podcast. We've interacted a lot, and of course Aaron C. And like they're like, I know there's this like I want to roll with you. I want to see what's up. And so it's funny because I just want to chill all the time, but also when you roll with people that like don't know you, they know you but they haven't rolled with you yet. You also just can't chill too hard because you got to be like, okay, you can. I know a little bit of jiu-jitsu, so keep listening to the podcast. Like, don't like if you did really well against me, they'd be like, "Nah, I'm never gonna listen to
these guys anymore."
Whoop this dude. I'm never.
It's the same.
I'm glad they pick you, not me.
Yeah. Especially when you go to those things, right? I was talking to Ben Brandon about this. Like, I just match your energy.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Exactly.
As hard as you're going to go is as hard as I'm going to go. I'm not just going to come in and just try and romp on you a little bit. And that's even against like other black belts, right? I'm just going to match your energy, right? What if you want to turn it up to 12, maybe let's get something. If you want to roll through at 7, I'll meet you there. 7 too, yeah.
At the Stoic one, talking about people lining up for Isaac.
That was funny. They'd
roll with you, and then you'd send them to me. Like they weren't seeking me out. Isaac was sending them to me.
Like, hey, so, you roll with
and
Josh?
It was the same. I'm like tying my belt, and the next one comes up is like Isaac told me to roll with you, and I'm like,
especially if they were like they were like good. I could tell their jiu-jitsu was good. Yes. I'm like tying my belt after. I'm like, hey, great round. Go roll with that guy. Right there. They're like, which one? I'm like, the purple belt, Josh, right there. Go get him. Like, see, he's really tired. Now's your chance. You know?
I'm getting done tying my belt. Isaac told me to roll with you. I'm like, and I'm the same. I'm not saying no. I'm like,
of course he did.
All right.
That's right. Because Curtis and I rolled together, and I was like, Curtis, please go smash Josh.
Speaking of smash, so it's funny. I don't know whether to be offended or not, but 3 different times I heard people refer to me as my jiu-jitsu as old school.
Old school.
Hey,
and I was like, on the one hand, because even Formiga said that.
Yeah.
Was like on the one hand I'm like, okay, that's cool because you know the guys that when I was a white belt I was looking at, right, that was like guys like Saulo and that was what I was like, okay, these guys have the same body types as me, whatever. That's kind of which is, you guys know, you know, my style, but I never really thought about it that way. And then I get there and guys are like, I rolled one black belt. He came up to me afterwards and he's just like, oh, I just want to thank you. He's like, I haven't felt like that old school, like pressure jiu-jitsu so like you word. Have. And I was like, old school, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You want to roll again?
I got some new school stuff for you too, bro.
You know, no. Yeah. I rolled with Sam, and he said it, and then Formiga had said it later, and then somebody else had said that. He's like, you got that old school jiu-jitsu.
I agree, though.
That's spot on, though.
Yeah. I agree.
So I'm gonna start doing more barambolos now. I got
No,
but that smashing pressure like that is just constant, and their base is strong, and posture is always good. It's hard to beat, man, and it's hard to do anything when someone who knows that kind of jiu-jitsu gets a hold of you, you know. So I mean, it's absolutely take it as a compliment, bro. They're not saying old school. They don't know how old you are.
I just heard old
you many times.
I just heard the old piece. I was like, wait a minute.
Say what?
Danny was telling people like about you before. I can't remember who he was talking to, but he was like, have you met Brent? I'm like, no. He's like, dude. Okay, he's like, the dude is like, I'll just say way older than you think he is, but because he's at least, you think he's 20 years younger than he is because how he looks. He's like, he's a freaking machine. But I was like, yeah, that's true. And he rolls like it too. So don't think that.
Yeah.
If you accurately identified his age, he's not going to roll like that age. I promise.
Yeah.
Oh, because we were talking about Masters 5 competition and how it's ridiculous that it's still that tough.
Dude, it's harder.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Well, they're the people that have stuck around.
Yeah. Well, let's think, over the years, obviously, I've been in Masters 1, 2, 3, 4, and now Masters 5 because I am 52 for everyone out there. As I've competed through those, even as a black belt, I've been a black belt. This is my 10th year, right? Competing at that level, it is getting harder, right? It's like you would think being Masters 5, like, okay, things going to be kind of low downhill slope. No.
It didn't happen.
It is not. Like I get on the mat and like, especially like I went to Pans.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, man.
Yeah.
Like everybody.
Oh,
I remember telling Formiga, I was like, this is different. And he was like, this is Pans.
This is different.
It's like, man,
too.
there's not like getting Master 5 is like taking a day off. Yeah. Like, I go compete at Masters 5 black belt.
Yeah.
No, you're going against guys that have been doing this for
It's crazy. And they're still like,
oh yeah, and they still do it.
Yeah. There's a guy, I rolled with a guy that was on the podium with you at Pans, and he submitted me multiple times, and I was I think a 300-pound blue belt, and was like just blown away at how much I was getting submitted. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, there's no age advantage here, like, or weight advantage, Anyway, well, man, that was a great recap, and I'm sure more stuff from that trip will just come up through the podcast as just we message back and forth with more people. But
so thank you again to 208 Jiu-Jitsu for
Sam
hosting it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Fantastic job.
Thanks,
great
Aaron.
facility, great environment, great people getting the word out. Thanks to Aaron C for all the things he did to get it set up and support us along the way, man. It was a great, and for me, again, being on the road for 2 weeks is a great way to wrap that up, is to have that. And then obviously we were all in the Airbnb together, hanging out with my jiu-jitsu brothers.
David and Robin,
So,
can't not give them a shout out for
always.
all that they did, man.
Always. So
we'll have Robin on soon too.
Yeah,
so.
it was a great event. Super happy I was able to make, because again, I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it. I just figured it out on Tuesday.
Right.
That, okay, I can make it. Right. And then I started texting you. I'm like, okay, I can make it. Here's what I have to do, whatever. But
that's awesome. I thank you to those that messaged me that missed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't any of my crew.
I didn't message
you. Danny
missed
you.
Danny missed you. I believe Danny did.
And even Steven secretly missed you.
Yeah, he let that slip in the group text that was in. He was like, don't tell Josh.
Yeah.
No, but some of the people that I've connected with out there, same as y'all on Instagram, they sent some love. So wish I could have been there, but I'm glad
we'll be up there soon.
Yeah.
Like we'll be up there again. And we'll have 300 people the next one, because everyone that was there that was talking about how cool the event was, they were like, we're gonna tell more people, we're gonna print flyers, we're gonna go around the valley and tell more people. Yeah. So looking forward to the next one.
It's gonna be
glad
great.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
it looked epic.
Yeah.
So
will you pray for us and then we can get wrapped up here?
No.
Thank you.
Lord, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this time with my brothers here to talk about you, talk about the blessings we had. Thank you for blessing the event that we just had in Idaho. Thank you for the fruit that came from it, the fellowship, and all the good training. Thank you for giving us this continued opportunity to be able to do what we do, that we get to do. Thank you for choosing to use us. Help us to continue to be humble and open to what you'd have us do, Lord. I thank you for all those that are listening, that have listened, Lord. I pray you'd bless them throughout their day-to-day and bring us back next time. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you all for listening and for your continued support of the ministry. If you're interested in helping sponsor an event, or you want to bring Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu out to your school, please reach out to our email, jesusandjujitsu.usa@gmail.com. Or if you want to sponsor a podcast episode, you can reach out to us there. But we could really we would love your help and support of the podcast and the ministry and everything we do to continue to reach people with the gospel and help disciple them. But we love you. Go check out our merch. Go check out stuff on the website.
New shirts coming soon.
New shirts
They're in process.
Soon. Can't wait. But we love you and we thank you for all your support. This has been the Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu podcast, episode 110.
Go train.